Well, I have like a question that I wanted to ask you. Have you ever experienced any racism in Azerbaijan? And what? Man, I tried that. That's what he said. It. I was like, of course I'm gonna give you. Nah, like, I don't care. I was like, guy, you need to. Hello, my name is Emmanuel, and today I have a special guest in the house. The the man need no introduction. He's literally he's literally the famous guy in Baku. He sings, an artist, educator, like name it. So I'll be welcoming my special guest for today, Joseph.
Yeah, hello. Nice to have you here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure and an honor too.
Thank you, Joseph, for coming. So today we'll be like talking about like experience, music, culture, like Azerbaijan and everything. So how do you feel about like this conversation? Like, what's your expectation?
Man, if you'd ask me, I would personally not even want to kind of venture more deep into it. Coming from the fact it started from a mixed feelings and got to a stage of adaptation, but I think we could now. So let's dive in.
For those who don't know you, like, who is Joseph? Like, what would you say for those who don't know you? Like, who is Joseph?
Bro, Joseph is a human being. Joseph is a human being. Yeah, I'm Joseph. Yeah, I'm a medical student. I'm an educator, like he said. I kind of see myself as a versatile person, coming from the fact that by God's grace, I'm able to do a lot of things. Yeah, I'm humble. I'm humble. Yeah, I'm humble. I'm a humble human being. Yeah.
Okay, like for me, like the first thing that stood out for me when I first met you was the ability for you to be able to learn Azerbaijan language. So when you first heard this language, like what was your impression? Like how did you learn it? Like was it difficult? Was it easy? What would you say?
To be very honest with you, my first impression of the language was kind of strange, and I think that was when I arrived at the airport. I mean, I had taken my passport for some, from Czech, and the lady was just speaking. And when she noticed that I was a friend, oh, she started speaking English, and I was like, "What are we into?" But yeah, it was kind of very tough. I never thought I would have been able to learn it, coming from the fact that it was a little bit of misinformation stuff to what I was opting for. But it got to a time I was like, hey, you need to do something because if not, you got honshege. If you understand what I mean. Like you're gonna see thunder. I mean, you're gonna be in a very deep mess. That's what I mean. If you actually don't sit up and help yourself. They said heaven helps those who help themselves, but I have to. I have to help myself, and here we are.
Well, like how did you actually learn the language? Did you take classes? Was
Okay.
it from your friends? Was it from the internet? So how was it personal studies or was it something you went to courses to learn?
Okay, initially the thing is that it's actually a normal norm in my school. Like when foreign students get admitted, they have to undergo the preparatory course period. So actually it was just for some months. But I wouldn't really say that helped me completely. It was kind of a thing I was, should I say, more social. Social in the aspect I was not speaking to everyone, but I kind of attracted friends. I mean, people just wanted to communicate with me, to be friends with me. And as such, I was always in the midst. Just imagine being in the midst of four natives speaking, and you're just talking them from mouth to mouth. You don't even understand what they're saying. Of course, I know they were not using swear words, but I was just left with no understanding. So I think that actually built my kind of helped my listening ability at first. Then gradually I started speaking. I forced myself to speak, and even if I don't know what I was saying. I mean, I would go to the market. It got to a point when I had to use Google Translate. I mean, I just had to write. I would read it out the way it is, and the person said, "Huh?" And I would say, "Look at it," because I don't want to talk anymore. So it came from the preparatory course. My friends helped me. Me being like I said earlier, it got to a time when I needed to sit up and help myself. So at that moment, it became more intentional. Yeah. So the period, it became more intentional. It helped me, and most importantly, I don't want to forget it. Is music because I kind of was opportuned to start listening to the music. I didn't plan it anyways. Yeah, it's
And
really helped me to.
we'll
Yeah.
come up to music. But what was the first word you ever learned in Azerbaijan language? What was the first
The
word?
first word I ever learned is salam. I have to say it because
Salam alaikum.
salam alaikum. Let's say salam alaikum is used in also in Nigeria and other countries
But
because
salam alaikum is not Azerbaijani
it's
word.
Arabic. I know, but
Yes.
why I said salam is that that is basically the first word I learned. Even if I knew salam alaikum, I never used it anyways. Maybe I must have used it for my Muslim friends in Nigeria, but when I got here, I had to learn that it's a formal way of greeting because it's not a formal way of greeting even between the Northerners in Nigeria. So I would say salam and Najasan.
Okay, like what's your favorite word to say in Azerbaijan and what's your least favorite word to say? And what's the most hardest word to pronounce? So there are three questions like your favorite
Favorite
word,
word to say
your least favorite word,
and
and
the
the
hardest.
hardest word to pronounce.
My favorite word to say is Natarsan. And that actually means how are you, but in another form. And I don't know what's my least favorite word. I don't know what's my least favorite word. Maybe a swear word because I'm not good with swears. The way you say "Gishtola," I don't like saying that word. To be very honest, I'm not someone who likes swearing, but I don't like using swear words. But that is really what I don't like using. So I would pick it as my least favorite word. Then
The
for
hardest.
the hardest word I found it in medical school when I was kind of studying. I don't think if it was in general surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if it was in pathological physiology. I don't know the particular subject, but it was very long, and it's kind of a way of infection. When we call it pathogenesis, and there's a particular word it has in Azeri that I was like, damn it, I'm not even interested in this. I was just gonna write it in English. If he understands, he understands. It was quite difficult, and there's a particular word in Azerbaijan that is like malumatslandrimak.
Mm.
It's just like giving information. You can imagine how long
Wow.
malumat landrimak. So
Malimat Landelmak.
malumat landrimak,
What's the meaning?
like giving information.
Giving
To give
information.
like in a folk form, I think. If I'm not making any mistake, you can correct me.
So, like, does Azerbaijani locals laugh at your accent? Because even in English, we have accent, yeah? We have
Of
different
course,
kind of
of
accent.
course.
When you speak Azerbaijan, like, does the local, like, say, oh, like, do they look at you some certain type of way, or do they accept your Azerbaijan skills like that?
It depends. Do you know that sometimes language changes? It depends on the mood. Sometimes I speak so fluent, I go so fluently that I'm even shocked. I'll ask myself that, come on, like, did you just say this? I mean, how are you able to interact without a pause? And I'll be like, "Trrr, pum," and the person replies. And sometimes I find it difficult to even express myself. So it depends on the mood, but in general, the only accent that I've actually been linked to is when people tell me that you speak like Nachivan people. That's the only way they say that. I don't understand you. You speak like Nachivan people. You have Nachivan accent. So a person say you have Lancharan. They just, you know, attaches me to a lot of accent that I don't even know where it comes from. But Nachivan accent, yeah, I can understand it coming from the fact that, been there for some time. So it's understandable. But in general, I think I might have some issues with accent. Like when I said, if my mood is not in the right kind of position, I might just suffer from, stress in order to express myself. And there might just be some misses. But I always tell myself this.
Mhm.
I remember that I went to a market once and I was trying to convey
Mm.
my opinion to the guy. And he was like, I don't understand. And I said, wait. And another lady who was passing by, I stopped her and I told her the same thing in the same way. And she understood without even stress. And I asked him that, does it mean that this lady understands your language better than you? He was like, nah, Billy. Like, I don't care. I was like, guy, you need to go for listening classes. Because I always feel that as a native, I mean, we are native English speakers. So
Mhm.
I feel like as we are native, it's not very impossible if someone who even non-native speak,
Yep.
we are gonna be able to understand what he's trying to say. That is why
Yes.
we are native. We're able to denote, okay, this is what he's trying to say, even if he
Yes.
didn't say it correct. So I always tell my Azerbaijani friends, like, when I say something, as at then, maybe not now because my skills have, grossly improved. I tell them when I say something and you don't understand it, it's your fault. That means your listening skill is not as good as it's supposed to be.
Well, listening, not listening, at least now you could speak and
I'm
express your
still learning,
opinion.
anyways. Yeah.
Like we're going to like the biggest question. Like Azerbaijani people are always curious to see what
Okay.
does international things about their culture,
Yeah.
like live in Baku. So the biggest question, like, what is your cultural shock in Baku? Like your first ever cultural shock?
I don't know if I have any cultural shock.
I have.
Are you sure I have any cultural shock? What could be the cultural shock?
My first cultural shock was
Maybe
actually.
it's tea. I don't know. Maybe it's tea because coming from the fact that there's a particular tea that is, you know, being drunk here
Mhm,
by the natives, in the sense that when you visit any local
mhm,
here, the first thing they're gonna serve you is tea.
mm,
They don't even need to ask you. It's
mm,
something they bring, and you have to drink it.
mm,
And one thing is that I always try to observe people. When you kind of try to resist,
mm,
I mean, the person is going to have a very bad countenance.
mm,
So you just have to take it. So, in general, I think tea is a very good culture here. Actually, in Nigeria, or right from when I was growing up, I never, you see, Lipton, I'm not interested in it. Even sometimes back then, when my mom take it, I kind of look at her very, I said, why are you taking this? I mean, what are you enjoying from just taking Lipton and whatever? I just prefer back then I would just kind of mix up, as a standard Nigerian breakfast when you just use chocolate and milk or something, to have something. So I think it was a cultural shock for me here that people hardly even use milk and Milo to take tea. They kind of some of my Azerbaijani friends when I kind of mixed that, I had a friend visited me once and he was like, Gadash, mana chai verda. That's how he said it. I was like, of course I'm gonna give you. You don't even need to ask me. As far as you're here, I would give you tea. You get it. And I brought tea. I made tea in the way I understood.
mhm.
Back then, I had kind of hadn't understood completely that this is what I must do. And when I brought him the tea, he was like, Bunadir. Like, what is this? I said, child, that. He said, Full chai, put coffee there. Like, he was like, it's coffee. I was like, no, 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 bro. This is just tea with milk and chocolate. So I think, yeah. So tea for me, I would go for tea. I don't know if there's something else.
But my own cultural shock was the bread. Like Azerbaijani people literally eat
Oh, how come I missed that?
bread and everything.
How
Bread
come
and
I missed
rice, bread and potato, bread and eggs, bread and nuts, bread and ice
that?
cream. Like literally bread and everything.
Actually, have you seen bread and rice? You mentioned bread and rice.
Yeah.
Yeah, bread and rice actually. No, it was not even bread and rice because to be honest with you, I've seen people in Nigeria who eats bread and rice. But my shock was the type of bread.
Mm,
The type of. I think the first day I got into the country. Now let me tell you what happened. The first time I got into the country, I kind of was very famished. So I had told the guy who picked me up, who was here before me, I said, I need bread.
mhm.
And he was like, you need bread? Okay, let's go to the market. We're going to get bread. When we got to the market, I was looking for bread, but bread was looking at me. The bread was right there before me, but I was looking for something I don't know. And he was like, this is bread. I said, what is, this is what? He said, bread. So I was like, as I picked up the bread, I looked at him. I was like, bro, you said this is bread? He said, yeah, yeah, this is the bread we eat here. I said, oh, really? He said, yeah, you can. I think it was 30 coin. They
Mm.
call it 30 gapi as at then. I don't know if it was 20 or 30 gapi before something's changed. I took the bread and believe me, when I got home, I'm not going to exaggerate. Now, listen, the bread dismantled my mouth. I'm not kidding with you because
Crack your teeth.
it covered my teeth. My gums were suffering. I'm kind of, I was honest, I didn't bleed anyways, but you could feel the pain
Mm,
because just imagine when you're cutting, it has these sharp edges.
mm.
You cannot just run away from it. But I learned a better way to eat it. I just have to piece it and just soak it in water.
Yeah.
That's really the best way to eat it. But now I think I'm used to it. Now I can eat it comfortably. I think the mouth has adjusted.
No, their bread. To be honest, some of their bread can use it for like weapons.
I used when I told this to my Israeli friend, he was actually very angry. I said, "This is weapon of mass destruction." He was pissed off. He said, "Bro, what do you mean?" I said, "What do you mean you carry this? Look at this." And do you know the funny part? When you go to the market, there's a culture here I love. Everybody uses a transparent. sachet bag.
Mm-hmm.
They use it. Kind of, you're gonna see everything they bought. You get it. I went to the market once, one of my first days, and this lady bought four of them. And you could see the way she packed the bread, and she was holding it so happily. And I looked at it, I was like, wow. So I just imagine what she's gonna be doing with those four bread. And I later heard that bread is very important to them. Yeah, they love bread actually. They love bread and they use it in almost all their food, like you said. So I think it's a cool one. It's a cool one, even if I had to stop using the bread. But now I think if I must eat bread, I opt for another one.
Well, so that's his cultural shock. And there is this most asked questions, even in
Okay.
Azerbaijan, about Azerbaijani people. Like, what do you think about Azerbaijani people? Like, what are the good side and what are the bad side? And
Okay.
of course, there's always good and bad in every country. So this is just his opinion. So don't come for him, okay?
Oh no, they're not gonna come for me anyways. They can't come for me.
So what are your good side and bad side?
Before I start, I want to note something, just like he said. In everywhere, just like there's a particular adage we have, like in the midst of good eggs, we always have one rotten one or one bad one. And it's not because of we're working with the majority here, right? First of all, I want to note, and I've been saying this, I have said it severally, and I'm gonna note it again here. Azerbaijani people are very hospitable. They are hospitable because I'm gonna tell you for free. Like for free, you don't need to pay me for this. When I got in here at first, my house owner, or should I say my landlady, because I think the first house I had, I can't, was it? No, it was a man, but I didn't really have much good experience from the man because we were kind of, living farther away from each other. But the second house I kind of lived was a lady, and she actually emancipated me into the whole hospitality system. Let me just put it like that. Do you know what she would do? 7 a.m. It got to a point I almost got angry. The next thing I would hear on my door is, "You see?" That's what she calls me with this tone. Like, it stores my mind. Like, whenever I see her today, that name just spoke. You see? If that's how, I was like, Galiram, Galiram, Salam. It just says, "Do you see? Plov, you like, are you gonna eat rice? Something like that." She's gonna prepare rice, Azerbaijani plov, and she kind of gives it to me, and she'll be like, "Okay, you can take." I'll be like, "What is this?" She says, "Oh, it's rice. It's our rice. You're gonna love it." At that time, I didn't really understand the language, but I was just speaking, just unitarily, like word to word. Anyone I don't, I just accept. I don't understand, but I would just say, "Ha ha ha," just take the rice. It was good. And it's not once, not twice. She does it. And, sometimes they invite me to come have tea with them. And they even, whenever their relatives visited back then, or just some neighbors or something, she would just call me. She would just say, "Hey, come to the house. Let's have tea together." And trust me, they would ask you all the questions you can never imagine. But when they're asking you, I don't even understand most of them back then, but I'll just say, "Ha." Just just to make sure they don't continue asking. It was good. So they are hospitable. Amongst other positive things that I can say is that if they want to help you, they go a long way to help.
Mm.
They damn the factors and they can sacrifice to really help you. If why am I using the word if? Because we are humans. We have to agree with that. There's one thing for someone to help you because maybe out of pity.
Mhm.
And there's another thing for someone to help you because he or she is human,
Mm.
understands humanity. This is him. So he's not helping you because you need it. He's helping you because he wants to from his own side. And he's going to do it wholeheartedly. So if they want to help you, I think they would help you. And you're going to also be shocked because they will come out all for you that you would, ask yourself, say, waiting this up now. Why they help me like this? Something like that you get.
Exactly.
You just have to like. So it's good. So the negative aspect. I mean, I'm gonna quote. I can see your feature because that's what you want to hear, right? So I'm gonna quote. Allow me to quote. I'm gonna quote from what my Azerbaijani friends do say about their people. Let me quote. They would always tell me that, Joseph, do you know our people are so judgmental? I'll be like, oh, really? Yeah, yeah, they're very judgmental. And I'm asking you, are you judgmental? Yeah, So they
You're
say,
leaving a question.
I'm leaving a question, you're gonna answer it. So they say there are people who are so judgmental and they judge a lot.
Mm.
And again, they say their people are very jealous. Yeah, they say they're very jealous. They have this jealousy in them and they judge a lot. Well, I think everybody has jealousy. Even God is jealous.
Mm.
That is fact. But I think it depends on how you are able to manage it. And it's in diverse degrees or levels. So some persons are extremely jealous.
Mhm.
I know jealousy is actually a very bad thing when it's so much.
Mhm.
But I don't know the level that they are here, because I've not cared to ask. But in general, that is what my friends always tell me, because they try to engage me with. When they ask me, can you tell me some things about your people that you don't like? I kind of tell them some things, but I don't actually state unrealistic point. But they said by themselves that, do you know this? I was, oh, I don't know. They explain, they tell me, I mean, they are being sincere. And honesty is very good. It does not kind of make you insecure. It does not make you look bad. It rather proves that you are human. And that is why we are humans. Because if we are humans and we cannot accept or to be able to, should we say, translate our flaws, then we are living like robots.
Mm.
We are no longer human. So I think our flaws, errors, and imperfections should be accepted as being human, not necessarily tact bad. That's all I can say about that.
Well, I have like a question that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Have you ever experienced any racism in Azerbaijan? And what give us like what was it? If you have,
How did I know he was about to ask this question? I just kind of knew. Let me be sincere with you, bro.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things people take as racist. There are a lot of situations, there are a lot of utterances people can, take as racism that I wouldn't. It is not coming from the fact that I'm trying to pay less attention to it or I'm not acting concerned. It is actually because of I always try to understand what is called true intention.
Mm.
Because for me, true intention matters a lot. After all, even in the court of law, the judge always weigh reasons.
Mhm.
So why can't I, even God Himself, always say, give me rather your strong reasons. So sometimes when people say something, they might not say it with the act of emotionally harming you. They might just say it. Maybe they heard it somewhere. They don't really understand the implication of what it is.
Well,
Now, I'm gonna say,
are you trying to say that ignorance is allowed?
okay, okay, yeah. People would say that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Yeah,
Wait,
but it's not a law. Yeah.
because in Azerbaijan, most times when you like go through like Talgover, like those street boys, they
Okay.
always say the N words to us. That's a fact.
Uh
So
huh.
are you trying to say that okay because they don't know the
No, that
implications?
is why. That
So
is
what do you mean by that?
okay. That is why I told you, like, some. I use the word some.
Mhm.
Some things, some utterances, some words used might not to me mean racism. If especially I'm not close to the person to understand, because there's something about communication. You have to look at the body language. You have to look at the facial expression to understand the position the person is taking at the moment to say that. So if I'm not there, I might just pay less attention. But of
So
course,
if I
people have
politely say N words to you and I
like N
smile,
word. No,
does
if
it mean that I'm not racist? I just
bro,
like
that is why I said some. Why
Mhm.
did I say some? Because they are specific words
Mhm.
that we know, we both know that when used, it can create chaos.
Mhm.
So, example, okay, let me use this word. Over here, people will just call you Garabala. And I believe you've heard it severally.
So many times.
Let me be honest with you. The first time I came here, it used to annoy me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to be honest. It used to annoy me. When people use that word on me, let me tell you what happened. I'm gonna mention someone's name. If you're gonna watch this video, Richard, you're gonna help me record this and write this on the comment. I had a colleague back then, like a friend. We actually lived together, Richard. So we had a group of friends. So what happened was that that fateful day, we went out with our friend, and just some random boys came up to us to take a photo. And we took the photo. Can you imagine after 2 days, we saw ourselves on TikTok? I was not there because literally I hid my face on the photo. I don't know how I didn't do it intentionally, but just somehow, my face was not just showing. And you know what they wrote? They wrote black babies. Richard got so annoyed. He was like, bro, what is this? I was just laughing. I was like, it sounded so funny to me. I was angry and at the same time laughing. Like I was just kind of imagining should I say, the psychological aspect, the perspective they are coming from to have written that. I mean, even in capital letter, bro. Capital, they helped us to put emoji. You understand? Capital letter. From that day, Richard stopped taking photos with anyone. If we're walking on the road and anyone stopped him, we'll be like, no, 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 I don't want that one. Go, 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 I don't want to take photo. But yet, I was angry, always angry, like I said. And I actually had this conversation back then with my dean. And I talked to friends. I used to have a friend who kind of knows English very well. I talked to him. I was like, what is the meaning? Because I didn't really know the meaning of Garabala. What's the meaning of? I only know that Gara is color, black. But Bala, I didn't understand what it means. So I asked my friend, he was like, oh, it's kind of, he explained and everything. He was like, oh, that, he said, don't be angry about that, that some of our people don't use it to chorus. They just joke around with it. They can just, when they just see, they just want to joke with you, using that word. I was like, well, I understand, but still, in some situations, you would see someone saying it in such a way that you just want to get, annoyed, but you just have to hold yourself. But in everything, understanding is very pertinent. In everything, understanding is very important. So I think, do you know where love will strive? Love can only strive in understanding. Because I think if you don't really understand, like I said, intention and yourselves, that is when the annoyance, bitterness might come in. So sometimes, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had once called a guy. I was like, "Hey, why did you say that?" He didn't say it to me. He said it to someone else. I was like, "Why did you say that?" He was like, "Oh, bro, it meant no harm." And I was like, "Yeah." I laughed, and I tried to speak the other guy out of it to not, keep it in thought because but I needed to caution him to know that, hey, you have to be careful how you say it because some persons don't like it. To be honest with me, now, if you tell me that word, I'm not gonna feel annoyed. I think life is in stages. I've passed that stage already. That particular word, I haven't sang a song. I think you saw it. I sang a song of it. Even you, remember when you told me that, bro, which guy song be this? Why are you going to use this word? Sing song? A lot of equally peace, you. Even peace. A lot of persons attacked me for that. What kind of, I said, hey, did you even know the lyrics of the song? It's not even for us. I asked my friends back then, they were like, sorry, the Russians back then used to call them that word, but now they use it for someone else. And still, some of them claim they don't mean bad about it. So who am I to put it to their faces like, hey, you're doing this and it's bad? If they have said it that we don't mean bad, I mean, someone can tell you then and you stop saying, and he tells you that I was just joking with you.
No, but it doesn't matter it's a joke or not. I just feel like it's not nice to if someone says they don't like it, so just don't say it.
Okay, now let me tell you something. Generally, from my own understanding, if we are looking at it from the other side of the coin, I would tell you that um, colors shouldn't be used to attribute human beings. Because where did all of this even come from? Where did this emanate from? Where did we start using colors to attribute or to link humans? Where you call someone white, I've heard someone saying I'm brown, I'm not black. I think I'm very honest with
Yes,
you.
I'm brown. Yes,
I've heard someone saying I'm brown,
I'm caramel.
I'm caramel. I was like, I was like, wonderful. So you see, we are even the issue. We are part of it. Because when someone says, you're dark, say, me, I'm not too dark, I'm caramel. So when did we start using colors to attribute us? I mean, these are things that shouldn't be used. So, like I said, if we want to change it, we have to start. It's a thing of the mind, and I don't think it can be changed. It's just like humans should understand that what is wrong, but still understanding is important because it might be a harmless statement.
Hmm. Well, whether color or not, like guys, let love lead. Okay,
Yeah, very
we
important.
are one. So, but coming to like the interesting part, you are an artist, of course, we all know.